really nice to have a home opener. You know, we haven't been here for a while to open the season since 22, I believe, and it's really nice to be able to what looks like a pretty good temperature game as well, and we're certainly hoping that a lot of Hog fans are in the stands, and we have a lot of respect for Alabama A&M and their staff. They've got a really good staff. Coach Shade brought in a good staff there. You know, they won their conference over at Miles, and obviously I'm sure that's a big reason. A lot of reasons, but I'm sure that's one of the reasons that he was able to get that A&M job. They've got a lot of new people. You know, brought some kids over from Miles as well, and you know, so we're doing back and forth watching with Alabama A&M from last year to see the players that we're going to see this year, and certainly Miles College from offensive and defensive special teams standpoint. So excited about getting our team out there, and we need to play smart football, penalty-free football. Well, we've got to hang on to the football, and we have to play to our standard. What our expectations of our team is, and that's going to be a mantra of us all season. We've got a good team, but we have to put a good team out there every Saturday. And if any indication came off of Friday, I thought we did a really good job in the mock game Friday, and our special teams were really good, and we flew around, and so I was proud about what we did Friday night, and Starsick made all his kicks, and so we're ready to go and excited to have play somebody else other than ourselves, and again have high respect for Alabama A&M.
Yeah, Coach, you feel like you got everything accomplished that you wanted to be accomplished, and what do you think you're going to find out about your team on Saturday?
I do. You know, I feel like we've done a good job. I've got a good coaching staff, and I feel like we've done a good job. We have an older team than what we've had in the past, which is anytime you get a team that's led by the players, you sure are going to have a big advantage when times get tough out there. Yeah, I think we did. You know, there were some things that certainly speed-wise that we saw Friday night. We're a fast team, and we wanted to see that, and we're a big team. So we still have some competition battles will go on today, tomorrow, and Wednesday to see who actually runs out there with the ones. But for the most part, we're settled there, and if they're an or on your depth chart, you'll certainly see them play a lot of ball as well.
As you mentioned, you got competition going, but as for the depth chart that was just released, wide receiver C.J. Brown, Jalen Brown, and Omega Blake, why those three? Obviously, you said you got competition.
Well, you could certainly put Monte Harrison in there as well. In my opinion, he's really had a good fall camp. Just because of the plays that they've made, the consistency that those guys have made, and more probably as important as anything, the speed of Jalen Brown. We want to get it on the field as fast as we possibly can. But we do believe that there's more than those three. But CJ probably was the most consistent guy that we had. Him and Monte, they were probably the most consistent guys we had. And Raylan, with him being out and being hurt, that would have something to do with that as well.
How's the health going in, like Okie, Sorey, some of those guys? How are they doing?
Yeah, David Okie's going to be. He won't play this week. Sorry, we believe will practice today and will be ready for Saturday. Antonio Jordan had a high ankle sprain, so he would be doubtful for Saturday. Other than that, I think the guys that we've had will be ready to go.
Bobby the other day when he was in here, and I know the goal is to win the game, of course, obviously, but last year you got Malachi into the UAPB game, and then when he came into the Tennessee game, it didn't look like he had deer in the headlight, so how important would it be if you get a chance to get KJ some extended action Saturday?
I think any time that you are able to get, especially that position, I go back and look at or think about the Pine Bluff game last year and with Malachi and actually KJ as well. But with Malachi going in, I don't think you can handcuff your offense because you've got to see you've got to develop confidence in whomever's in the game. But I think that really helped Malachi last year. And, obviously if we get fortunate enough at any point this year to play KJ, we'd like to.
Yeah, with Raylan, when do you maybe expect him back? And we saw CJ in slot some, but do you think that's a really good natural spot for him too?
I think we talked about it as a staff, and we think that might be his spot, one that he runs good option routes and is a good blocker as well. Raylan, we expect him to play Saturday, and he was back last week, the latter part of last week, practicing as well.
You've been on the hot seat for maybe, 3 years now, it feels like. How do you deal with, does that even enter your thought process?
No, it really doesn't. I'm not on social media or anything like that, and really all that matters is how our team plays, and I can control that to a certain degree, and I can't control what people think about me or what they write about me, so I'm really not really concerned about it.
Kind of a similar question with Trey asked about the wide receivers. You have here on the depth chart Connie and Julian, that won the battle outside, but I know you're going to play everyone. What kind of separated them for week 1 depth chart? Those guys are the names in bold as the starters.
They're big, and they probably were they were the most consistent guys. Actually, Kanai and Julian are, we think, really, really good corners and have size. Again, probably just the most consistent guys. Jaheim, we're very, very positive about Jaheim Singletary as well. And then you go probably to Villa, and would be the next, along with Selman Bridges. But those two guys were the best two corners that we had throughout fall.
When you just look at this offensive line, and I know we've talked about the backups a lot, but as you approach game week, just how much reassurance, confidence does, it feels like 10 deep there, 9 deep there, guys that you have trust in. I mean, how big of a boost is that now that we've arrived at game week?
Yeah, big time. We're also going to have to get Emarion Harris a few reps at left tackle because we haven't done that yet. We've moved him to right guard and to right tackle, but I think we're going to have to look at him a little bit at left tackle as well. But just to have that depth is big time. There's a difference in depth with size too, and we have the size now that can handle the size that we're going to see each and every week. So Eric's done a good job with that group, and even though some of them didn't play for us last year, they played for somebody else. They played. It wasn't like bringing in even some of the guys that we brought in last year that started for us. They hadn't really played much ball at their previous school. These guys here have, and so I'm real confident that we'll be ready. Even though Alabama A&M schematically they bring some, they play a lot of zero coverage, a lot of internal blitzes. They do some things, a lot of movement on their D-line. They do some things that will certainly test our offensive line. But with the veteran guys that we've had up there, very confident in them, and and confident in at least 9 to 10 deep there.
Sam, you mentioned Marion possibly getting him some reps at left tackle. I assume we'll also see him at both right tackle and right guard. How do you go about that, like going into the game?
That's how we've been practicing. Here last week we practiced him starting at right tackle, and then we've practiced him some starting at right guard. Obviously, you have Kobe Branham and certainly Shaq McCroy, who switch interchange there. But for the most part, we've had Marion at right tackle and Kobe at right guard. But we do need to make sure that we work Shaq in there to get him. He hadn't, really had much game experience since high school, and we're going to need him. And so we're trying to work that in, but probably the same way that we do at practice, where we'll keep a fresh guy in there and see what they can do.
You've got a new defensive tackle in Keyshawn Blackstock. Just kind of what was the timing on that? When did he move? What were those conversations like, and what have you seen from him in practice?
I think it was about 6 days ago. Now, we had talked about it a little bit simply because of the depth there at D-line. Now, we're very, very happy with the young freshmen that we have in there. Kevin Otis comes up, Reginald Vaughn. Those guys can play. We're very, very happy with those guys. But to get a veteran, older guy, and he played it in high school as well, Keyshawn was the guy that I went to first and asked him if he could if he'd be interested in, because he wasn't starting on the offensive line, and it wouldn't affect the offense as much as at all, actually, for right now. And we needed him to play when David got hurt. And he's done a good job over there now. He's only practiced 3 times over there, but we have this week to get him ready as well. And I think he'll be ready. He's wanted to do it. He said anything for the team, and so when I talked to him, he was outstanding in that part. But I also think he has, he knew, and we know that he has opportunity to go help us on that D line.
I guess just one more on Blackstock. Are there any previous examples from your coaching career that you can maybe pull from when you talk to a player like that to make this kind of change?
Very seldom, and it happens, but very seldom do you take an offensive lineman and move him to D-line. Very, very, no, I don't know if often the word, but a lot of times you move defensive linemen to offensive line. Moving side to side, yes, I've had a lot of experience with that, but not a lot from moving the O lineman to defense. And but we felt because of his demeanor and the way that he likes to play, that we thought that he could do a good job over there. But really, it was a very easy conversation, and I said, I think this would help us. And first thing out of his mouth, if it'll help the team, I'll do it. And there was no, and then we took him into the defensive. I took him into the defensive meeting, and they all clapped, and they were all excited that he was over there, which tells you that he's a good teammate as well. So it went really smooth.
Just to follow up, what was the diagnosis on Raylan's injury?
Raylan Sharp, foot. Had a foot injury, and it took a little bit longer than what we thought to get him back, but if last week's any indication, he's ready to go.
And also following up on the right side of the offensive line, what are the ratio of snaps that you're looking to get from each guy at each position between Kobe and a Marion at guard, and then a Marion and Shaq at tackle?
Well, we still have a week of practice, so I don't know what it'll be. We usually decide that on Saturday morning in our coaching staff meeting about how we're going to play the players. So we'll still wait until the end of this week to see how they practice. But we would like to, certainly get all of those 3 guys in the game. Percentage-wise, I'll have to wait till the end of practice this week and then our coaches meeting.
First time in a while that you've heard it's a game week. Do you kind of switch into a different mode for the next few months?
Oh, it's exciting. You know, I'm the head coach at Arkansas. It's exciting. And, you know, this year's a little bit different because we have a lot of players that the state hasn't seen and we haven't seen on a Saturday. You know, we certainly have seen them in practice and scrimmages. So it is exciting to see what we have. And, you know, as anything in football, you have guys on a Saturday that are better than what they were in practice, and then sometimes you find out they're not quite as good. We want to see all the ones that are better, and think that we will because we have an older veteran team.
I know this is still an important week ahead of you, but how would you just judge how this year's camp went looking back?
Oh, I thought it went really well. I really did. We got out of there healthy for the most part, and very physical camp. And we found out, you know, Trey had a good question opening up. We found out what we wanted to find out. And, you know, there's one thing about you think you know something and then you know something. And I think that's what camp's for. A lot of times spring ball's for that. But I feel like we know our team and we know what we have. Know where to go when someone's tired, and know who to put in. Know, you know, I think our quarterback's confident in what he has out there. I think each level's confident in the leader, and so I feel really good about it.
Are you guys going to do captains game by game again this season like you did last year? And did you like that last year?
We're going to have permanent captains, and the kids have already voted on those, okay? And except for one, and we still have one left that we're going to vote on this week. But will we have other guys than that? Possibly, yeah.
What specifically would you like to see out of Talon this week?
I want him to let it fly. I want him to be as confident in himself as we are. I want him to go out and run the team. That's the expectation. That's what he will do. I just want him to have great success running the offense, whatever Bobby asks him to do, and I know he will. I mean, I have a lot of confidence in him. I want him to go play worry-free and let it fly. And I think that's what he'll do.
Without getting too much into the weeds, what is it specifically that a Marion does so well that other than just size and athletic ability, that allows him to move around on the offensive line as much as you can?
He's an excellent run blocker. I mean, he is. He seems to be in fit. He can bend really well. He's quick and really has good hands. So he's a good offensive lineman. I'm not for sure that he's the only one, but if you're looking back in his history, he's played several different positions for us. And so that gives us a confidence that he can move and have success. But you said other than his size and his length, that would be the answer there. And, of course, you have to be smart to be able to play different. It's easier to go from right tackle to right guard. It's hard to go from right tackle to left tackle. It just is. There's a totally different technique used for that. But he can do that. I would say he's probably a pretty good athlete is probably why he can do that, and he's smart.
I know you talked about the receivers earlier a little bit, but Jalen Brown is kind of a guy that maybe flew under the radar for us in camp. What did you see from him that really got y'all, I mean, he's listed as a starter, confident in him?
Speed. He's fast. And, you know, I can throw Andy Jean in that category as well. But he runs good routes, but he's fast. And you know, it's hard to cover speed at times. You know, if you don't have it, it's real hard. And so to answer your question, just his speed.
A little bit of a follow-up on Talon. probably hard to really judge, ball security and limiting turnovers, just given, what's around the cornerback in camp. But what have you seen in that regard, even, something as simple as how he's going through his progressions?
Well, he's been really good at taking care of the football as far as throwing it. He's made good decisions there. And, a lot of that has to do with getting better protection, as well. A lot of it has to do with wide receivers catching the football, not tipping the football, because those turn into turnovers. And a lot of times it looks like it's the quarterback. Well, you had a guy in the hands and it's tipped and they intercept it, probably should have caught the ball. So getting a little bit more security around him there. But, in the pocket it's hard. Bobby works on it all the time because we have a turnover drill circuit. So Bobby works on protecting the football along with everybody on the team. But, you don't hit the quarterback, so those are things that certainly you have to have two hands on the ball when the pocket gets closed in on you and those things, and we've worked hard on that.
Off the top, you said, we want to play to our standard. I'm sure it's an annual question, but your message to everybody on staff, your players, the state, about what that standard is.
Well, we just have to be smart, and I want to see a fast, tough team. I want to see a team that plays hard. I want to see a team that if you go who played the hardest, I don't know what the score is, but who played the hardest, I want it to be the Hogs. That's a reflection of our team and our coaching staff, and to be honest with you, a reflection of our state of a lot of hard-working people. And that's what we want to be. We want to be smart to begin with. And then after that, we want to roll that ball out there and let's go play the hell out of the game. And that's what we've got to see, and we've got to be consistent doing that. And I believe that we will.
You mentioned some of the cover zero, a lot of blitzing from Alabama A&M defensively on the opposite side of the football. What have you seen from them on offense that your defense is going to have to be focused on this weekend?
They like to throw the deep ball. They're an RPO team, but they throw it deep. They've got a good quarterback, Cornelius Brown, and he can sling it. He's big and he can sling it. And but we've got to stop the stretch play. I mean, we have to. They like to run it, like to run inside zone as well. But the things probably the most concerning would be the deep threat, their RPO game, and we have to stop the stretch.
Just now that it's a game, are there any one or two maybe biggest questions on your mind that, not necessarily doubts, but what things you're asking yourself, is my team going to be able to do this on a game day on Saturday?
Well, it's, Monday and we haven't practiced yet, but I've seen all the scouting reports, what we're planning on doing. I like our game plan to this point, on paper. We're doing what we can do. And so really, honestly, I really don't. We need to have a good week of practice, and I can't wait to get to Saturday. But I really don't have any major concerns. We can punt it. We've got a good punt returner. We've got a good kickoff returner. We can kick it. Starsik's doing well. Some of those questions that you might have, where are we at wideout, I'm not concerned about that. Tight ends, I feel really good about the team, so I don't really we go out and play, and I don't have a concern that we'll go out and play extremely hard and smart. I'm just ready for a good week of practice and can't wait for Saturday.
Who are the voted on captains so far?
Xavier Sorey on defense, Xavier Sorey Campbell. On offense, Taylon Green and Junior Carmona, and on special teams, Devin Bell. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to wait until the team saw all the special teams and all that, and then we'll name another captain through that special teams captain as well, and we'll vote on that no later than Wednesday of this week.
you watch any week 0 games?
I did.
Do you have any takeaways from that? A lot of times there's a lot of penalties, turnovers, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, there was one in the Iowa State K-State game where a guy cramped after they spotted the ball, cost them a timeout. And there seemed to be a lot of penalties in that game to start with, and those things are not. You can't just accept that. Well, that's week 1. We've got officials at every practice, So, we had a TikTok dance that cost Stanford, a big penalty, and it's pretty simple. If you just celebrate with your own players, it certainly will help, and I'm sure their coaching staff. Listen, I never made a big play, but if I would have, I probably would have danced too, But those are teaching moments for our team, and I'm sure their team as well. But we've got it. We're going to show it because we've got to teach off of it.
One of the great traditions here is running through the A.
Yeah.
Last year, I saw you a couple times. You did
walking through the A.
Kind of peel off a little bit. You able to go through it?
Man, I'm gonna run as fast as I can run. I've been a year off. I should be in better shape than I've been. So, no, it's a great tradition. It really is, and to be a part of that and be the first guy. Now I don't finish first, but to be the first guy running out there, it's a great tradition and a great honor to be that guy. And I hated it last year that I wasn't able to do it, but I can this year. I'm going to be rolling.
I had a question about your D-line, just maybe with the depth and Okie. Any concerns going in with depth on your D-line?
Yes, I think everybody would like to have more depth with everywhere, especially your bigs on both sides of the ball. The guys that we have out there, no, I believe they can play, but with Dave being out, that does, some of these younger guys are going to have to step up along with Blackstock. He's going to have to, we moved him there we don't need him on the depth chart. We need him in the game. And so, yes, there would be a concern there. Simply depth. I feel good about us with, obviously Cam, Ian, and Danny. But we'll see how Stock does. I think he'll do well. And then we've got to continue to develop these young guys until Dave's able to get back.
There was a study that came out over the weekend. I think the Tuscaloosa News USA Today Network did it about running plays from the 1-yard line. Did you happen to see that?
I didn't.
Apparently, teams that line up under center score at a higher rate from the 1 than shotgun teams, and there's a number of reasons for it. But I wonder what your maybe philosophy, because you guys will go under center right there some.
Right.
You mix it up. Do you remember?
A lot. We do. Yeah, we do. Normally, the bigger the formation, the more higher percentage that we're underneath the center. Obviously, there is always a threat of running the sneak as well. And sometimes they'll take you what might be considered taken out of a sneak situation with a bare front with mugged up linebackers, or making you do something else, which we obviously have a check system down there as well. A lot of times when you're in a gun situation there, you're more apt to be in some type of read with your quarterback, so there's two different thoughts there, and we have both of them.
Coach, you mentioned going back and forth between watching Alabama A&M film from last year and also Miles College. I'm curious, is it difficult to get film for a Miles College, a small school like that, or is it pretty easy these days?
Well, we got it. The view's a little different, but it was still good film. But the camera angle's not quite as high as what normally you're used to. But no, we still got really good film from them.
And Coach Shade or anyone on that staff? Like, have you ever come across them? Or
I always like to go if it's a new team. I always like to go and see who they have on their staff and their history and all that. And he actually has some guys that played in the league, including himself coached in the league. So, like I say, that's why I said I think he's got a really good staff. But I don't recall anybody that I've coached with or I know well that's on his staff.
You don't always win your first bet. That's why MyBookie has you covered. Use our code HOGS, HOGS, and your first bet up to $500 is fully covered. If your pick doesn't hit, you get it right back with our Bet Back bonus. Go to mybookie.ag and use the code HOGS to claim your Bet Back bonus. MyBookie's, where bettors win together, because bragging's good, but cashing in is better. And your first bet is fully covered. Use our code HOGS. Got a little jingle